Okay. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 483. We are reviewing episode 33 of Number 1 Sentai, Gozyuger! Though it seems like with this episode, basically the whole number 1 thing is barely a fact in this episode. It's briefly like one scene and that's it. We do have the famous thing of like the number 1 announcer. You don't even see him or the little cheering thing in this episode. By the way, this is episode 30. The 33rd episode's title name is Choose Your World: The Ultimate Final Sword. This is basically a Hano episode where he is making a delivery to his parents' place, which of course he hasn't really spoken to them since he returned and been gone for 10 years. Which they kind of completely forgot about him anyways because they adopted 2 more sons to replace their son disappeared. So he doesn't try, when he sees like, oh crap, it's his old house, he puts his hat down, cover up, and then he gets a vision, and he's transported to, of all places, the robot graveyard. Which, this is actually the first time the place has been seen since episode 18 of the series. And then we see, we have this final sword, which takes into a world where basically Tengu's sword never existed. And then he, had to choose this world and the other one, where battles go around, which I'll get to that. And then he just picks up a sword with Tengu's sword, and then he just merges with Tengu's sword to become Ryu Tengu's sword, which is interesting, a very interesting form he has. So, meanwhile, though, in the case of the bad guys, where we're talking about the Gozyugers, who don't, basically for them, they talk about the fact that the whole thing with Bedlam, basically he's part of the Abyss Force, the Force of Cataclysm, of the thing that pretty much kicked off the show, which prior to these last couple episodes, it seemed like nothing had been done with that group at all. I mean, because for all intents and purposes, they basically were dead. And they figure, Bedlam's alive, one of the generals. And they referenced the villain of the movie that's still not released. The sub isn't released yet for some reason. Don't know why, but it hasn't. So, I haven't seen the movie, so I at least know who this villain is. Yeah, so the villain they previously fought, so... And of course, Reed decides to have the Gozyugers. They come, basically fight him, and then he summons a bunch of dead grunts to battle alongside basically a one-shot general for this episode. A monster by the name of Tamo, who's a swordsman with a skull face, and he decides to summon these following old grunts: Zols from Flashman, Urger Soldiers from Masked Man, the Jammers from Live Man, Alter Soldiers from Turbo Ranger, Graham Soldiers from Jetman, let's see, the Organs from Gal Ranger, the Androids from Deca Ranger, and I think that was it what I saw here for the grunts that he basically summon, and of course they take on the monster, and they're pretty much losing, of course. And what's number 1 Bedlam doing? Well, we have Fire Candle and Banquet looking for Mr. Sweet Knife, but Mr. Shining Knife, because he is disappeared after he killed his wife last episode. Looking for him. Tao Jun punishes the Ring Hunter for disobeying her. And then, of course, basically, when Bedlam's... by the way, his monster gets destroyed in the episode by, of course, Hano. And the Bedlam goes giant size to Tengu Jun, because apparently if Tengu's sword goes away, Tengu Jun disappears too. For reasons. Yeah, it's not really very explained of how, like... The way... Because here's the thing. She is based upon, like, stuff related to Tengu's sword, and they apparently, according to Polar, they apparently fought him during the war, which I'm like, I guess he was probably one of those robots that basically the mecha basically fought before they were defeated. By the way, we see the graveyard. One of the first mechas I saw there was a couple of mechas I saw that make a brief cameo appearance. One is the mecha from Gozyuger. The other one is, I kid you not, the Shogun Megazord from Kakaranger. Yeah. And he goes giant size. Tengu Jun summons her own Zors based upon Tengu's sword itself, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, this is something I did not expect at all to see. So basically, she summons combinations of Taga, her own little rings to form basically a version of her. And apparently he's disappointed. He leaves, and they leave on a cliffhanger like the way they do, and that's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. It's a quite interesting episode, to say the least. Oh yeah, and the episode ends with Hano visiting his parents, who delivers pizza to them, and basically his mom basically like, you look familiar, because she's apparently forgot about it. It was like, and come by sometime, we'll see you again, and that's the episode. And it looks like next episode we're going to see a new mecha make its debut. Like, it seems like a lot more stuff is going to happen next episode, because this feels like basically just starting it's still part 2 of the whole arc related to Return to the Cataclysm. Which, there's a slight possibility that Tao Jun's forces might switch the good guy's side because Kaika's more bigger threat than she is. Presumably, but who knows? But there's not a lot of episodes left to air. There is roughly, after two episode counts as one, either it's going to be 16 episodes left or 17 episodes. So I'm going with 16, 17 episodes left to go. Yep, so yeah, that's particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. Next up is a Comic Corner, and then it's right back to My Dress Up Darling. Okay, next video. Bye.